and a warm welcome to our brand new TV show that we're going to be doing on a regular weekly basis to let you know, the viewer, what's going on in the property market. So right now we don't have a name for this show, and it's something we're going to be asking for help on and your ideas and comments, and please do get involved, and we'll be putting up a little posting somewhere to get your thoughts and comments on what you think this show should be called. But for right now, let's get cracking. So it's the 7th of July today, and what a week we've had in terms of the last 7 days. What's been going on in the market? Well, first of all, the big news which is still out there is Brexit, or as I like to call it, Lexit, because we have voted to leave, so let's get on with it. And what's happened in terms of that whole impact from Brexit. So there's been a lot of things going on, but in terms of how that affects the property market, then let's have a little look at it. So the first thing is, when we look at the property market in terms of, as a property investor, what are we talking about? We're talking about 5 million rented homes in the private rental sector that potentially could be affected by the moves for the UK to move out of Europe. And if we look at what's been going on in the markets, there's been quite a lot of flux. So from a property fund perspective, we've seen some of the really big funds this week declare down valuations. Henderson's, the biggest fund in the world, 4 billion they manage in assets, have essentially taken about 4% value off their fund. We've had Standard Life effectively say we won't be paying out anymore at this point. They've closed the fund to new investors and also to payouts. And if we look at then what's going on in terms of the Bank of England, they're obviously getting somewhat jittery, and they're talking about, well, okay, what can we do to encourage actual lending in the sector to boost that back up again? And Mark Carney, the Bank of England, has removed the capital values that the banks have to keep in reserve, reduced that from 0.5% to 0%. So all of these things that are going on really makes for some interesting reading and some interesting times ahead. However, it's not all bad news. If we look at what's been going on in the sector, just this week, Belvoir lettings have been tipped as a really hot share to look out for in terms of their business. Why are they tipped as a hot share? Well, essentially they've just bought Northwood, which is 86 branches across the UK, taking up their rental portfolio to just under 55,000 rental properties. And given that the market sector is about 5 million, it's still a small number that they've got. But in total, they've now got 301 branches. And that's really exciting for them in terms of their expansion plans. It also means for investors that are getting into that particular company, the dividends are really quite strong right now. The share price is hovering about 125 to 128. So again, it's a really good and interesting thing that's come out this week, is that actually that is being tipped as a share to look out for. At the same time, there's been a lot of talk about student halls. Now, we don't know how Brexit or Lexit is going to affect students coming over from Europe. Obviously, we've got to remember that they come over from Asia and America as well. And student halls have seen a huge amount of revenue go into that sector recently. In fact, Knight Frank reported only just this week that they've had a 60% growth year on year of funds going into that sector, with approximately 13 billion of funds going into that sector just in the last 12 months alone. And then finally, let's look at what our Chancellor, Mr. Osborne, has been doing. So being very quiet for the last 7 days or so, but now he's starting to get out there and make some statements of his own and forecasts. And the really interesting thing for property investors is, as you will all know, one of the things that we're facing right now is this whole issue about corporations, and the fact that effectively as investors it's better for us to actually invest at the moment through a company. Mr. Osborne is certainly fueling that desire to move towards a corporate sector, in that he's just announced that he wants to see corporation tax reduced from the forecasted 17% right down to 15% by 2020, which for people in property that have been forced into this kind of corporate entity of buying through limited companies means that's great news in terms of obviously more profits, and potentially the UK could become the tax haven in Europe, which would be a kind of 10 out for the books. So it's not all bad news, there's good news out there. And finally, just wanted to finish off talking about cracking the property code. So for those of you out there who are perhaps still unsure about what strategies to do, still unsure about is the property the right place for you to go, then I'd highly recommend you get a copy of Cracking the Property Code. It's a book I wrote a few years back. It's still current, it's still relevant. We've literally got 19 copies left in the office, and once they're all gone, they are all gone. We will be reprinting them, but at a later stage in the year, because we're basically getting them put onto Amazon and not having ISBN numbers and all that good stuff. But anyhow, if you want to get one of the last remaining 19 copies of Cracking the Property Code, do make sure that you get in contact with us and get your copy. So that's it for this week. Thanks for listening, and please do send in your thoughts, comments, questions about the show, and also please do suggest a name for the show, because that would be awesome. Thanks very much for listening. This is Matthew Moody from yourhmoexpert.com.